The following is a CUNY TV special presentation.
Peter Jennings, who died in 2005 at the age of 67. Mr. Jennings commanded a steady rise to a success as a journalist, covering breaking news stories locally and around the world. The list of awards and accolades bestowed upon Mr. Jennings is long, but what people may not know is that Mr. Jennings himself was a high school dropout. This affected him greatly, as he often spoke about the value of education and took great pleasure in participating in this annual award ceremony. His extraordinary achievements, his professionalism, and his integrity are a lasting inspiration to us all. We are especially grateful to his wife and renowned television journalist and reporter, Casey Free Jennings, for continuing Peter's legacy by her presence and participation at this ceremony, and for her contribution through the Peter Jennings Foundation in support of the Scholarship Fund. We would also like to thank Dr. Leslie Oppenheim, a true pioneer in the field of education and language immersion programs. For decades, Leslie led the growth and development of the adult literacy programs here at CUNY until her retirement this past fall. We're delighted that you're able to join us today. Our first speaker is Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Donna Linderman. Please welcome ABC Donna Linderman.
Thank you very much, Jeanette, and thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so pleased to be here to celebrate the achievement of these special 11 students who earn their HSE diplomas through our CUNY Adult Literacy HSE programs and who are already or soon will be in college at CUNY. And well, I'd like to begin by saying a few special words of appreciation. First, to Casey Free Jennings. We're so grateful for your continued support, Casey, and to the Peter Jennings Foundation for your commitment to our exceptional students. I'd also like to thank our Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Vita Rabinowitz, for joining us today. Vita has been a fierce supporter of the programs in my portfolio and all of the programs across CUNY that are committed to helping students realize their academic goals and to move towards degrees, training programs, entry into the workforce, wherever you want to go. So in preparation for today's ceremony, as we do every year, we followed up on what happened to previous Peter Jennings Laurel scholars, and the results are really impressive. I would just like to share some of them with you. So since 2003, we've had a total of 167 Laurel Winners, and 162 of these students have subsequently entered CUNY. So that's a 96.4% rate of matriculation. Really impressive. The vast majority, nearly 70% of our award winners were over the age of 25 when they matriculated, and 6 of them began their college journey at the age of 55 or older. So it is never too late. So let's give them a hand. 76 of our students have earned at least one college degree already, and 4 have completed their master's degrees here at CUNY. And currently 50 students are still enrolled, and they hold an average GPA of 3.24. So it's an impressive bunch, and you guys have big shoes to fill, which we have no doubt that you will. So it's wonderful to have several of our former Laurel Award winners here with us today to join in the ceremony, to lend their support as role models to our current winners. So may I ask you to please stand? We're joined today by Alaudis Mendez from 2014 and Dexter Roberts from 2012. So I'd like to make a special acknowledgement and thanks to our staff in the adult literacy HSE programs, our campus program managers, our counselors, and of course our amazing teachers. They're an exceptional, gifted group of educators with decades of experience and expertise in supporting student success. I'd also like to recognize our central office team who support the work of the campuses, our professional development specialists, Eric Appleton, Ellen Baxt, Kate Brandt, Moira Taylor, Mark Drakowski, and our program staff, Arnita McKinley, Joan Stern, and Roman Tesero, who have done such a great job supporting the work of the programs here at CUNY, and also have become leaders across the state of New York. And I'd like to make a special thanks to Ramon, who is our manager of the Peter Jennings Scholarship Program and the ceremony, and Hilary Sedaris, whose wonderful writing expertise you'll hear in just a few moments when the students' biographies are read. So we really appreciate all the work Hilary and Ramon do every year to make this such a special ceremony. So, but most importantly, I'd like to thank the students. That's who we're here for, and we're proud to be here to honor you. Last quick thank you before we get going. I wanted to thank CUNY TV for hosting us as you do every year. It's not easy to pull this off, and you guys are amazing hosts, so we're very grateful to you. Okay, so to our scholarship winners, just a couple words before I turn it over. We know that your success has not been easy. We know how hard you have fought day in and day out to achieve your HSE, to juggle jobs and family responsibilities and work. And we know that has not been an easy task. And anyone that hasn't had a look at the HSE preparation materials and the curriculum that you work through would know. This is serious math, composition, history, civics. There you go. That says it all. And to those of you that have already started your college pathways, we also know that is not easy. We congratulate you. We wish you every success. And I would just like to say, don't stop until you have earned that degree. You've already proven you have the tenacity and grit to come this far. And we would like to be there to celebrate you coming up on stage to get your college degree in just a couple of years. And we look forward to that. And to also welcoming you back to future Jennings Award events where you can serve as role models and inspirations to the class behind you. So to all of the winners, congratulations, and thank you so much for being here this morning.
It's my pleasure today to introduce our next speaker, Executive Vice Chancellor and University Provost, Dr. Vita Rabinowitz.
Thank you, Jeanette and Donna. Good morning, colleagues. It's really a pleasure to welcome you to what you have heard described as everybody's favorite annual event. It's because it is so special. It crystallizes CUNY's mission, and it is small and intimate enough to feel a connection. This is our opportunity to honor 11 outstanding award winners as they embark on the next phase of their academic paths. And it's also a chance to rededicate ourselves to CUNY's unique mission to educate, in the words of our founder, the children of the whole people. I, too, want to thank everyone involved in the planning and organizing of today's events, particularly Ramon Tercero in the language and literacy programs, who worked tirelessly over the last few weeks to pull this together, the central office staff in the adult literacy program, who support the 14 campus-based HSE programs across CUNY. I also want to welcome our distinguished guests in attendance, including college staffs. I was lucky enough to sit at breakfast with 6 people from the College of Staten Island who were so proud of their winner, including vice presidents. So this is please know how proud we are of this program on our campuses. And I want to thank everyone for their ongoing support and enthusiasm for the CUNY's high school equivalency program. I also want to welcome and thank our high school equivalency teachers in the audience. Your student success owes no small amount to you. These educators deserve our thanks for their dedication and passion and all they do to help students. Today we are celebrating a remarkable group of men and women with ambitions of following in the footsteps of other Jennings Award winners before them by achieving a college degree. The students came to CUNY's high school equivalency programs with many different ideas, I'm sure, about how it might shape their futures. Students, you hail from all over the world. This year's class from India, Bangladesh, Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, El Salvador, and some right here in Brooklyn, Staten Island, and the Bronx. And your academic interests are equally wide-ranging, from nursing, veterinary medicine, criminal justice, business administration, and engineering. Several of you have taken advantage of other CUNY programs, such as CUNY Start, ASAP, and SEEK, to keep up your momentum and prepare for the next step. One student has already excelled and is a part of an Honor Scholars Program. But all of you took on the challenge of attaining high school equivalency with determination and a sense of purpose that is exceptional. You have already proven yourself to be exceptional. Despite personal responsibilities, economic hardship, language barriers, and a host of other challenges, you found a way of prioritizing your education. Your success with the high school equivalency, which as we all know is no easy feat, and your decision to matriculate as CUNY students is one that will not only change the course of your lives, it will change the course of your family's trajectories. It's a decision who will shape who you are as a student, as an employee, as a member of your family and a community. It will change you as a whole person. There is great wisdom in prioritizing your education, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't doubt this. It's the surest path to increasing not just your earning potential and improving your job prospects, but in finding opportunities to grow and change as a human being. But knowing that is true, deciding to make it happen and then making it happen are two different things, and we all know that. I have seen up close the challenge of pursuing an HSE degree and the value of attaining it. My oldest friend from high school, and we are going back more than 50 years, left high school, our Catholic high school, when we were 16, she to start a family. I stayed on a linear educational path, and she became a stay-at-home mom with 2 young children as a teenager. But we remained close as the years passed, and she is my closest friend to this day. She was my matron of honor and the last person I saw before my last vacation. But in her mid-20s, she made the hard decision to get her GED, as the test was known at the time. And it wasn't an easy one. She was full of self-doubt and, frankly, embarrassment that she was so far behind her peers. Everybody else had gone on to college. She wondered if she should even start this journey and risk setting herself up for what she saw as more failure. Well, start she did, and like you, she excelled in her studies. She reignited the passion for learning that she always had, and she earned that degree with distinction. That turned out to be the most consequential educational decision she ever made, because after that, she had her path and she hit her marks. She got other degrees. The hardest one was this one. But the confidence she gained launched her successful career in health, an industry in serious need of qualified practitioners interested in new technologies, constantly changing techniques and processes, and commitment to patient care. She now heads a medical unit in a major hospital. But when she talks about her professional journey, the milestone that stands out is getting the GED degree. In retrospect, my linear path was far easier than hers, and I am full of admiration for the person she is today and how it changed the lives of her children and grandchildren. Peter Jennings knew firsthand how education changes the trajectories of lives, and that's why he sought to support students like you at this moment in your lives. Serving New Yorkers like you lies at the very heart of why CUNY exists. It's the reason this university has offered high school equivalency and transitional paths to colleges for decades, because students like you deserve an opportunity to pursue a degree whenever and however it is that you come to us. There's simply no greater investment you can make in yourself, your families, and your futures. I want to thank Casey Jennings for her commitment to this program, span every year here to support the program, to further the program. I want to thank everyone in this room who's responsible for bringing this to life. I want to thank you, students, for your commitment to your education, and I urge you, as Donna did, please stay with your studies. You will have much temptation to get off the path. Stay with it. You will never regret it, and get that next degree. So with great admiration for what has brought you here and great optimism from where you are, I wish you all the best at CUNY, and thank you.
We are joined today by a former Jennings Scholarship alumni, Lourdes Mendez. As a child, academics came easy to Lourdes, and she graduated from high school in the Dominican Republic by the age of 17. Lourdes enrolled in a GED program a month after she arrived in the U.S. and earned her GED, or what was then the GED, about a year later. After enrolling in CUNY's CLIP program and subsequently matriculating at CUNY, she graduated in June of 2017 with an associate's degree in early childhood education. Lourdes is currently enrolled at Lehman College pursuing a bachelor's in psychology. Lourdes received her Jennings Award in 2014. Lourdes?
Being here today for me is a great honor. When I received the email from Ramon, I was like, I can't believe I'll be speaking here at the very event where I was a winner on 2014. I want to congratulate you all for accomplishing and obtaining your school equivalency diploma for receiving the Peter Jennings Laudable Award and transitioning to college. As all we know, getting an education is possible, but sometimes it's difficult. I earned my GED in 2013. It was not easy. I struggled. I felt defeated. I was scared and always tired. I had to work, and then I had to go to school. And sometimes I didn't have money to buy a metro car, and I had to take very long walks. Sometimes I had to go to class with an empty stomach and stay there and learn, and then go home and do my homework. But I did it. For some people, a high school equivalency diploma may not seem like something big, but for us, it's the beginning of something greater. And do you know why obtaining your high school equivalency diploma is just the beginning of great things in your life? It is because all the struggles that you have overcame while going to class day by day. You will face anything in the future that comes your way with more strength and optimism, knowing that if you did it once, you can do it again. When I enrolled in the GED classes, I did not know what to expect. It was intense because it was a substantial summary of the most important subjects that were going to provide a knowledge foundation for my transition to college. And we all know that's a lot of information. While I was getting my GED, I was also adapting to my new life here in New York City. I just came from the R 1 month before, and was really hard. Many nights I cried. I was really sad because of the transition, and I was away from my family. I don't know your stories personally, but one thing I do know, and it is that if you're here today receiving this award, you're one step closer to your dreams and goals. I must tell you that going to college is going to change your life forever. It is challenging, just like everything in life that is worth having. It is a unique experience that will teach you the necessary skills to succeed in your career, and it will show you how many amazing things you can do individually and collectively for the community you're part of. College is without any doubt an enriching and rewarding experience. Determination has been the key of my success in all things that I have achieved throughout my life. I started my GED classes on April 2012, 1 month after I came from the Dominican Republic, as I mentioned. It was really hard. It was a challenge. Moving forward, I always knew that God was providing for me so I can make it. Once I got accepted to college in 2018, once I got accepted in 2014 to Hostos Community College to pursue my early childhood education degree, I had to move out of the house that I was living in. I wasn't living with my close family. And I moved about 4 times before I graduated in the summer of 2017. And those 4 times I went through anxiety. I was in the hospital. I was going through it, but I made it. And when I started to pursue my bachelor's degree at Lehman College in 2018, I had to take a break from 2017 to 2018. From the summer to the fall, I became homeless. And it was another challenge, but there is no challenge that I told to myself, there's no challenge that I cannot overcome. I wanted to leave school. I really wanted to, and my husband was the one that was like, I'll leave my career for a year until we get settled. And it was a very hard time, but I made it. I was determined to make it through my first semester. I did. It was a lot. It was a lot. I already went through difficult times, and I was like, yes, I can make this work for me. And I made it. And I haven't finished my bachelor's. I'll finish next summer, God willing. But I feel that I've gone far enough, and I have accomplished a lot. I feel like I am an overcomer and achiever, and so will you. You'll overcome anything that comes in your path. I can tell you that. Once Malcolm X said, "The education is the passport to future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for today." Thank you.
Thank you, Alanis. Our next speaker has a very special connection to today's ceremony. Casey Freed Jennings is senior producer at Girl Rising and co-founder of the documentary group. Previously, Casey was a producer for ABC News based in London, Atlanta, and New York. She covered international and national news events for virtually every news division broadcast and worked with all the major anchors, including Peter Jennings, Ted Koppel, Diane Sawyer, Charles Gibson, and Barbara Walters. She serves as co-chair of the board of WIN, an agency that serves homeless families, and sits on the advisory boards of SOLA, School of Leadership Afghanistan, and the Bridgehampton Child Care Center. As part of the Girl Rising leadership team, Casey directs the Girl Rising Educator Program, worked closely with author Tanya Lee Stone on Girl Rising's book for young adults, and oversees the support for the girls in the film. She's a great friend to our high school equivalency programs, and we are delighted to have her with us every year for the ceremony. Please welcome Casey Freed Jennings.
It is so great to be here today, as it is every year. You've now heard this a dozen times since you all have been here, but it is the best morning of the year. I promise you that. Thank you, Jeanette and Vida and Donna and Leslie and Ramon, of course. There's no way any of us would be here without you. And Alanis, welcome back. That was, I don't know how I'm expected to follow that. That was so moving, and I'm just in awe of what you're doing. So thank you for being here again with us. So I know today is special for those of you, for those of you in the front row. But I want you to know just how special it is for me, and I suspect for all of the others up here, and for those of you in the room with us, your teachers, your mentors, your family. And the reason that this event is so special is it's about hope and promise, and it's about what can be. And that's what you represent, all of you. You represent what can be. A young friend, an orphan who grew up in the garbage dump in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, texted me last week. "It's hard," Soko wrote, "but I can definitely do the impossible things." I can imagine the smile on Soka's face when she typed that, because you see, this self-described child of the dump and mother to a 3-month-old child has just graduated from college in Chicago. She did the impossible thing. And today also reminds me of that. It reminds me of how the impossible becomes possible, and it's happening right here in this room today. And because of that, I know that I'll leave this building today feeling better about the world, better about humanity, more hopeful about my country, and more determined than ever to make the most of my good fortune. I know, in fact, that I couldn't do what you guys have done. And I mean that. What you're doing is really, really hard. And I know we don't have to tell you that. You know it better than we do. And many of you, if not most of you, are doing it with very limited support. I had support. I had opportunity. For me, an education, a college education, was never a question. It was an assumption. In other words, I was really lucky. You, on the other hand, are strong. You've all had to grapple with pretty daunting complexities in your life and responsibilities. And yet you've looked beyond those and what I think have made what I think a really, really, a truly difficult decision. And that's to go back to school, to embrace the challenge, to strive for different futures. And I am awed by your courage. Many of you never saw my husband Peter at work. Some of you probably never even heard of him before you were nominated for this honor. He was, as you've heard, an outstanding news anchor and journalist. And he was a good man, and he was an avid learner who sought out and soaked up knowledge. And as you've heard, he was a high school dropout. Every single one of you has gone further in school than he ever did. So if he were here today, Peter would be humbled as I am and moved by your fierce and admirable determination, by the drive that's propelled you past adversity, and by your conviction that dreams are attainable if you work hard enough. I have the privilege, and it really is a privilege, of reading the nomination packets. And one thing I always find striking is the language the nominators use to describe you all. And you've heard a lot of it here today. There's a wonderful consistency to it. These are just some of the terms that are in it. A fighter, diligent and driven, always willing to help others, intrinsically motivated, dogged persistence, collegial and motivating, focused and determined. I could go on, and for a couple more minutes I will, because I can. And because there's so much more that I want folks in this room to know about you. When we present the scholarships in just a couple of minutes, our audience will learn a lot more about your stories. But I just want to highlight something about each of you that particularly got my attention, that captured my imagination. So Aziza Abdurazak, did I pronounce that right? Your nominator calls you brilliant and a shiny gem, and writes that your tenacious spirit and compassionate soul are much needed in the world. Even though you're only 20, you've been through a lot to get here, and you have. Your nominator concluded, with her gentle way and steely determination, Aziza is destined for great things. And y'all ought to check out her family, too. They're sitting there, her sisters and her mother who homeschooled her. Pretty remarkable family. Tamisha Bird, you wrote that you dropped out after the 11th grade because getting an education didn't seem important. But you said your perception changed after your son was born, and you realized you wanted a better life for both of you. You fought your way, you said, through hopelessness, pushed yourself, studied really, really hard, and, well, here you are. It's great being valued and respected, you wrote. Tenzin Choklang, did I pronounce that right? Sorry, I should have gotten all the pronunciations before I started. When I read your story, Tenzin, I was reminded of something the poet Warsan Shire, herself a refugee, wrote. She wrote this: "No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark." I'm quoting Warsan because I don't think most of us really comprehend what it is to be a refugee, to be forced from your homeland by violence and persecution. And many of us would be paralyzed by that. But I was struck by your response, Tenzin. You said this: "Yes, I'd encountered tons of hardships, but all I did was dust it off and find a way to stay positive and continue with my goal." Kwesi Cooper. Kwesi's nominator describes his fierce leadership and wrote that he inspires other students to achieve more, take chances, and not be afraid of failure. Decades of tenacity and risk-taking and laser focus, as well as refusal to give up, even when everything seems to go wrong. That's what got you here, and I have no doubt those same traits will get you the engineering degree you're aiming for. Regina Dortch. I'm going to just start with this. Regina completed her first semester at LaGuardia Community College with a 4.0 GPA. Now, understand this. Regina has 3 children and 3 grandchildren, left school more than 30 years ago, and says college was never in her future. Until now, 4.0 in college. Not to talk about myself again, but I could only dream of ever having a 4.0. Jennifer Manu, the potential she possesses to be exceptional. That's what your nominator said, and I'm not sure there's a whole lot more to add to that, but I will. Because in addition to that, from your nominator, your teacher calls you the all-star of the class, the heroine and glue holding everyone together. Given that, it's hard, awfully hard, to imagine you as a woman who had given up hope, because you seem to me to be the epitome of hope and resilience. Sue Ann Simmons. I know becoming an excellent student requires a lot of effort, and that I will have many sleepless nights ahead. Sue Ann, there are 2 things about that statement that I love. Actually, 3 things. One, you chose the word excellent, not good, not decent, but excellent. And second, you're not discouraged by sleepless nights. And third, you use the word ahead, the future focus. It shows commitment, ambition, and a powerful sense of purpose. I have no doubt that you'll face the challenges and persevere. Tapan Tanchangya. My Bangladeshi isn't very good, or Bengali isn't very good. My husband always said that the colors in Bangladesh are like no place else in the world. I've never been there, but I Googled your home village. It is gloriously beautiful, green, lush, mountainous, and really remote looking. And a very difficult place to become educator. You wrote that not only is the nearest high school in town 15 kilometers away from the village you grew up in, but that most young people have to leave school early in any case, in your case, 8th grade, to help support the family. So now just jump ahead a decade or so, and you've got a diploma and an eye on a postgraduate degree. It's a long journey. Congratulations. Teresa Tolan, 47, newly widowed, unemployed, and maybe unemployable. That's how it seemed. When you started that journey, it wasn't about personal fulfillment, it was about survival. College, you wrote, always felt like a fantasy. Well, remember that stuff about making the impossible possible? Well, you made your fantasy real. And now, as you wrote, you're on your way to a new beginning. And by the way, your nominator called you one of the most inspiring students she had ever encountered. Carla Zelaya? Which one? Zelaya. Your nominator speaks of your will, leadership, and strong sense of empathy, and also the focus that allowed you to earn your diploma in only 2 semesters while being a wife, mother of 4, and head of the PTA. Not altogether surprising, given that you'd become fluent in English after you arrived here from El Salvador, not only speaking, but also reading and writing while working full-time as a housekeeper. You wrote that back in El Salvador, I cried so much because I always dreamed of the day I would graduate and pictured myself wearing a cap and gown. Well, you've got your diploma, and before too long, you're going to have that cap and gown. And this time, it'll be for real. So congratulations to all of you. You are all extraordinary, and those of you who chose to make this country your home, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for, along with all the honorees here today, thank you for helping make our city, our country, a better, more interesting place, a more American place. Sorry. So I have a small gift that I'm going to leave you here along with your award this morning. It's a copy of the oral biography of my husband, and I think when you read it, you'll see a little bit of yourselves in him. He would certainly hope to see a little bit of himself in all of you. And finally, at the beginning of my remarks, I quoted Soka, that child of the dump. Soka is one of the girls whose story is told in the film Girl Rising that you heard referenced earlier. It's part of a global campaign for girls' education that I help run. And I want to leave you with a thought from another one of the girls in the film. Her name is Suma. She's from Nepal. She was a kamlari, or basically a slave, from the time she was 6 years old until she was 12 years old when she was liberated and finally able to go to school. Education, Suma told us, made her feel as though I have power. She said, I feel like I can do anything, and I have important things to do. So as you stride forward into this new world that you have created for yourselves, and this new world of opportunity that you all have created for yourselves, know that you too have power, that you too can do anything, and that you also have important things to do. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your day today. It really is a special day for me, as I hope it is for you. Thank you.
Now we come to the heart of today's ceremony, the acknowledgement of the Peter Jennings Laurel Scholarship Award winners. Awardees, when I call your name, please come up and join Donna, Vita, and Casey at the podium while I read your biography. Growing up in Brooklyn, Tamisha Bird didn't think that education was as important as working and making money. Her perception changed when she gave birth to her son. Tamisha enrolled in an HSE program at the Adult Learning Center at Medgar Evers College, where her teacher was impressed by her keen interest in social studies and English and her kindness towards her classmates. Her teacher also praised Tamisha's work ethic. Even when the going got tough, algebra and science, she kept coming to class and spent hours outside of class studying. I didn't ease up on myself, Tamisha says. She passed the task on her second try and enrolled at Medgar Evers College. Attending Medgar Evers College shows me the importance of my culture and the people who paved the way for students of color to obtain a college degree. Being in college has opened my eyes to many things I did not take note of. Tamisha is majoring in science and hopes to become a neonatal nurse. Tenzing Choklang. Tenzing was born in a Tibetan community in southern India. When he was a young child, his family fled from the Chinese, and Tenzin spent several years in an Indian refugee camp. His family was reunited in New York when Tenzin was 12, just in time for Tenzin to become an American teenager. Tenzin enrolled in an HSE class in the Adult Basic Skills program at LaGuardia Community College. His teacher was pleased with his excellent attendance, openness to any math challenge, and leadership skills. On his first attempt, Tenzin passed all but the reading section of the test. Undeterred, he kept studying for the reading section as well as the CUNY skills test, and soon passed all three. He's now a computer science major at LaGuardia, where he earned a 3.89 GPA in his first semester. Tenzin has participated in several student panels and frequently stops by the Adult Basic Skills program to talk with HSE students. Wait, picture. Kwesi Cooper. Kwesi Cooper grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. At 23, he came to the U.S. and worked long hours as a barber while he waited for legal status. When it was granted, he enrolled in a for-profit business college, a big mistake, he says. When Kwesi discovered the HSE program at New York City Technical College, he was in disbelief that it was a free program. At first, Kwesi felt embarrassed to be older than many of the students, but soon he became a role model who inspired other students. After earning his diploma, Kwesi enrolled in City Tech. One step at a time, I am taking on the challenges in front of me and utilizing the education that I have access to, he says. Over 2 semesters, he's maintained a GPA of 4.0 and has joined the Honor Scholars Program. Regina Dortch. Regina had been working at a Pathmark supermarket for 22 years when she received a letter informing her that the store was closing. I was in my office and in tears, and the tears just started coming down, she wrote in her application essay. That's when I decided to go to school and get my high school diploma. When she started attending an HSE class at LaGuardia Community College's Adult Basic Skills program, she felt lost and embarrassed. Math, especially, was like learning another language. But Regina had come to LaGuardia to get her diploma, she says, and I was not going to leave without it. After 3 tries, she passed the task. Currently, she's studying business administration at LaGuardia with a 4.0 GPA. Jennifer Manu. Jennifer grew up in Ghana. Her family immigrated to the U.S. when she was 19. While she worked long hours as a home health aide, she dreamed of becoming a nurse. In her own words, I felt a deep yearning and thought, if only I can go to college to study nursing, I could help a lot of people. Jennifer enrolled in the HSE program at the College of Staten Island, where she impressed her teacher and her classmates with her determination and community spirit. Although Jennifer had to leave the program for medical reasons before she had passed the math section of the task, she returned the following semester to focus on math and passed. She's now enrolled in the HSE Math Start class at the St. George campus at the College of Staten Island and plans to study medical technology and become an ultrasound technician. Jennifer Navarro is our next award recipient. Jennifer is not here with us today, but Osmara Lopez from Bronx Community College will be accepting the award on her behalf. In the meantime, I'd like to read Jennifer's bio for you to all know about who she is. Jennifer Navarro grew up poor in the Bronx and attended schools where she found little encouragement. She looks back and recalls that she felt racially and economically disadvantaged. At 19, Jennifer became a mother and realized she wanted to give her daughter a better life. When she enrolled in the HSE program at Bronx Community College, she faced the fear that she wouldn't be able to learn. But with the support of her teachers and classmates, Jennifer's confidence grew, and as she put it, she found herself accomplishing things that I had failed at previously. In contrast to her high school self, Jennifer attended classes even when her full-time job and parental responsibilities made it very challenging. When Jennifer passed the task, she enrolled in Bronx Community College, where she's in the ASAP program. She plans to major in criminal justice and become a forensic analyst. In her own words, I want to be able to have a stable, purposeful job that will help people find justice and make my daughter proud. Osmara will be accepting the award on her behalf. Sue Ann Simmons was born in Kingston, Jamaica. When she was 5, her mother left the family to work as a nurse in the U.S. Sue Ann joined her mother at 11. It was a difficult transition. In high school, Sue Ann became pregnant, left school, and enrolled in York College's Adult Learning Center. There she found a supportive environment and an understanding teacher. On her first try, she passed all sections except math and social studies. The next day, her baby was born, and it was 12 years before Sue Ann returned to finish what she had started. Even as when she was going through a divorce and living on public assistance, Sue Ann managed to stay focused and to advocate for her children. After earning her HSE, Sue Ann enrolled in York College and was accepted into the SEEK program. She plans to follow her mother's footsteps and study nursing. I have high expectations for my children, and therefore I must display to them that through my actions and my accomplishments, I can achieve it all. Tapan Tichanya. Tapan grew up in a small agricultural village in Bangladesh, the oldest son of farmers. Like other children in his village, he left school in the 8th grade to help his parents work the fields and harvest crops. Tapan came to the U.S. in 2015 with the help of a program that supports the Juma indigenous people in the Chittagong region of Bangladesh. After arriving in New York, Tapan learned about the Adult Learning Center at New York City Tech, where he enrolled in an HSE class. He dedicated so much time to improving his English and studying outside of class that his teacher said it will be an understatement to say that Tapan is a good student and will succeed in college. He passed the task after 5 months in the program. He plans to major in construction management at City Tech. Teresa Tolan. Teresa was a stay-at-home mother in Staten Island when she was widowed at the age of 47. The need to find work and support her family drove her to make the daunting trip to the Borough of Manhattan Community College and enroll in an HSE class. Teresa describes herself that day as a nervous wreck. I didn't even know which way the MetroCard went. Her math teacher remembers her PowerPoint presentation on climate change, which showed graphs and cited data to show how rising sea temperatures pose a global threat. Teresa's family had been hard hit by Superstorm Sandy in 2012. She's now studying math 4 nights a week in the CUNY Start program, where she always arrives early to take advantage of the tutoring. She would like to become a nurse and help young mothers and their children. In her own words, I want to give back what I've learned and help them feel empowered. Carla Zelaya. Carla grew up in El Salvador. She dreamed of graduating from high school and attending college, but her parents couldn't afford to keep her in school. She immigrated to the U.S. when she was 19 and worked as a housekeeper while attending English classes in the evening at Kingsborough Community College and the Borough of Manhattan Community College through the Educational Alliance. Carla enrolled in an HSE program at BMCC. She feels lucky to have had a teacher who understood her challenges and appreciated her commitment. When she passed the task, she learned about CUNY Start, where she spent 2 intense semesters before enrolling in credit classes at BMCC. In her own words, my academic goal is to be as proficient in the sciences as I can as I pursue a degree in nursing. I also want to set a good example about working hard and to always dream big, even when things feel and look impossible. And finally, Aziza Abdur Razak. Aziza grew up in Brooklyn, where she and her siblings Aziza grew up in Brooklyn, where she and her siblings were homeschooled by their mother. When she learned that an HSE diploma was a path to college, she enrolled in a class at Brooklyn College's Adult Learning Center. In Aziza's words, I vividly remember how kind and helpful everybody was. There was a sense of camaraderie. The positive environment had an enormous impact on my belief in my ability. In addition to her studies, Aziza volunteered at an animal shelter where, in her words, I saw dogs transform from feeble to healthy under the care of veterinary staff. After passing the task, she was accepted to Brooklyn College, where she excelled with a GPA of 3.8 at the end of her first year. Aziza is majoring in biology. She plans to study veterinary medicine and hopes to one day start an animal sanctuary and educate people about animal welfare. So Aziza is going to come back and share a few words as a student response to this on behalf of this year's award winners.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 17th Annual Peter Jennings Scholarship-Laurel Award Ceremony. It is an honor to be standing up here, continuing Peter Jennings' legacy and representing CUNY Adult Literacy students. I would like to begin by thanking my first and most important teacher, my mother, for providing me not only with scholastic education, but for also instilling in me the values that constantly encouraged me to seek knowledge. You're my biggest inspiration and motivation, and I wouldn't be up here without you, Mom. Thank you. I would also like to thank my sisters, Ramana and Rahima, for their constant support throughout my scholastic journey and their unwavering support. And finally, I would like to thank Ms. Casey Free Jennings and the committee and congratulate the winners and nominees. The recipients of this scholarship range from students in the CUNY Math Start program to majors in social and behavioral science, computer science, environmental technology, business administration, criminal justice, construction, and liberal arts. I understand the amount of dedication that it takes to study for a test that condenses 4 years of high school into a single exam, and the conflicts that can arise as you attempt to achieve your goals. But to overcome these challenges, pass the exam, and continue on to pursue higher education is truly an incredible feat. A little over a year ago, I registered for HSE preparation classes at Brooklyn College. Because I had been homeschooled for my entire life, during my final year of high school, I was presented with 3 options to prove that I was prepared to attend college. take the SATs, the ACTs, or the TASC exam to receive my high school equivalency diploma. Because the HSE diploma would allow me to apply for jobs and apply for college, I decided to take the TASC exam. During my time in the HSE preparation classes, I realized the impact that the teachers of the Adult Literacy Program had on students. I witnessed my HSE instructor, Miss Alexis, begin each class with an infectious enthusiasm regarding the subjects she was teaching and constantly encourage students to keep a positive mindset and believe in themselves. With her guidance, I watched students not only excel on the exam, but also become so inspired that many of them went on to attend college as the next step in their educational journey. After I passed the HSE exam, I enrolled in Brooklyn College through the BC Brown program, which opened many doors for me. During my first year of college, I studied abroad in China for the winter semester, became a mentor and classroom assistant in the HSE preparation classes in which I was once a student, and enrolled in a seminar where I learned valuable information about conducting research in STEM, one of the many interests I discovered while in college. Throughout my first year of college, I realized how impactful education is, a concept Mr. Jennings admired and celebrated during the course of his life. Although he became a successful newscaster despite his lack of formal education, he understood the advantages of it and sought to assist adult learners in their quest for knowledge through this scholarship. In closing, I would like to sincerely thank the underwriters of this scholarship for investing in the education of adult learners. It has been said that knowledge is power, and that has never been truer. With the assistance of this scholarship, I am sure that the recipients will go on to make amazing contributions to society, making the world a better place. Thank you.
Dexter Roberts is a native of the Twin Islands of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and received the Jennings Award in 2012 and is currently a Student Life and Development Coordinator at CUNY's Medgar Evers College. During his time in college, Dexter was president of Medgar's Student Government Association and vice chair for Disability Affairs in the University Student Senate. In 2014, he earned his associate's degree in business administration, and in 2016, a bachelor's of science in business administration. He is currently enrolled in a master's program at Baruch College in public administration with a concentration in development and urban sustainability. Ultimately, Dexter plans to run for public office and become a change agent in his community. Dexter.
Good morning to the Peter Jennings Scholarship Committee, Miss Casey Jennings, who has kept the torch of her husband's legacy burning, distinguished guests, friends, family, and most important, you, the 2019 scholarship recipients. Permit me 1 minute to pay some bills before I get into my speech. So I want to say good morning to my Medgar Evers family. Good morning. Dr. Castro and Dr. Russell. So when I enrolled in college and I was doing my remedial classes, I wrote a paper and Dr. Ella Russell wrote so many red on that paper. I swear it was much more, it had more red than the dripping blood of Calvary. But that paper encouraged me and strengthened me to sit and inculcate and write much better. Dr. Russell, I love you. This morning is a morning to be thankful. And to be thankful because we have made it this far. We have overcome so many hurdles, so many obstacles, and very soon you will have a degree behind your name, my fellow scholars this morning. I'm here to share with you my many challenges and my triumphs. As you heard, I was born in the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the beautiful island that took Carnival and Steel Pan and Limbo and gave it to the whole wide world. Like many of you this morning, and like Mr. Jennings and myself, we dropped out of school and there were no hope. But what is so ironic on this morning is that we could have sat down and do nothing, but we chose to make a difference and do our GEDs and our high school diplomas to get ourselves better. Nelson Mandela said, that education is the only weapon that will change the world. I say today that not does only education change the world, but it will change your lives. In 2011, I embarked on a journey after a job of 5 years, a good job with plenty of money. But I had no high school diploma. The challenge was for advancement. So what has happened? How I lost that job? I enrolled at the New York College of Technology Adult Program. I recall when I was nominated for the Peter Jennings Scholarship in 2012, that Ms. Jennings was reading my bio, and she said, and I said that I had a fear to go back to school, and that fear shook me like leaves falling off a tree. I was scared. I thought I wouldn't excel. I thought I couldn't do math. I couldn't do English. But I proved them wrong. Surprisingly, when I wrote the GD, I got a score at 2,400, 10 points less than what they wanted, so I had to rewrite it again. And even though whatever you are doing on this day, if you didn't succeed now, don't give up. Keep going, keep going, keep going at the Energizer body. You would one day succeed. After passing my GD, I was nominated just like all of you to get the Peter Jennings Scholarship Award. However, I had to enroll in a CUNY school. So I decided to go to the SUNY Educational Opportunity Center, downtown Brooklyn, to get myself prepped for college. Again, a challenge. I passed everything, but failed by 1 point. What do? I remember calling the advisor and asking him for an opportunity to sit in the class so that I could learn, and he said no. I felt hopeless. I felt that my life is again going back down a precipice because there's no hope. I am thinking that I'm supposed to get some help, and I'm getting the help that I'm supposed to get. But I didn't stop at losing by 1 point. I keep on going. I enrolled in McGivers College, and quickly I became student government president. I did everything that was possible to make me succeed. My first semester, I had a 4.2. I think I was doing really well. I want to leave you with a message this morning. And the message I want to leave you with this morning is, you create your own space. You, like last week I heard Reverend Al Sharpton said, I will make them call my name. I challenge you on this morning to make them call your name. To make them call your name, Suan with a PhD and Teresa with a PhD. Make them call your name. I challenge you this morning, in spite of whatever is the difficult situation, I ask you to keep hope alive. Within my own mind, I had a song that I sang, and it was a song that was sung by Black Stallion. I could make it if I try. Just give one more try. Just if I push just a little harder. And I keep pushing, and I keep pushing, and I keep pushing, and I excel. Just as Peter Jennings, even when he didn't have a high school diploma, he could have sat down and said, you know what, the world is all dark. And a lot of times, many of us like to sit down and play the pity party, and we like to say that we didn't have the help or we didn't have the support. Nobody will hand you a silver platter and say, go. We got to work hard for what we want. I thank you on this morning. I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to address you and to speak to you this morning. But as I said, encourage yourself as you journey along your college line, your college life. Ensure that the people that is around you, surround yourself with people who are positive. Lift your heads up high. Keep your head up high, and I promise you, you will succeed. Thank you so much.
And so our program comes to an end this year. You have all worked very hard to earn your diploma, and we know you are up to the challenge of working even harder in college, completing the coursework for your chosen career, and graduating. Thank you all for coming this morning, and have a nice day.